Now, while exact details aren't very clear this far in the future as to exactly how the girl went missing, her parents simply said she was seemingly there one minute and gone the very next. What started as a small preliminary search turned into more than 300 searchers, all calling out for the girl by name and looking through every known inch of the woods, all to no avail. Lillian was gone for almost 2 entire days and nights. After scouring and searching the entire forest and woods, 46 hours after her parents had reported her as missing, Lillian was found alive, just a couple of miles from where she had first disappeared. So, in all that time, she hadn't gotten very far. Why hadn't the over 300 searchers and professional rescue teams found her? I know in the 1800s they didn't have the technology or knowledge of forensics like we have today, but still, you'd think they'd have searched the area where Lillian ended up. She wasn't very mobile in the amount of time that she was missing. It's not as though she were walking around the entire time either. Around 10 o'clock in the morning on the second day of the search, a man named Bert Pollard found the missing girl. Despite immediately crying out for her mama, Lillian seemed healthy, happy, and even content when Bert found her. She was still holding the berries in her hand she had picked while in the presence of her family before she disappeared. Now, this is some 2 days later almost. Her father had just gotten done telling her that she must be careful, for some berries found in the woods could be harmful, even deadly and poisonous. The little girl was scared. Perhaps these fresh blueberries were some of those bad kinds, and while she dared not eat them, she didn't think to get rid of them for some reason. Yes, that's right, she carried around a handful of blueberries for 46 hours while lost in the woods and trying to find her way back to her parents. Lillian seemed absolutely fine and didn't have a scratch on her. When asked what had happened, had she wandered off? Why? Here is what the young girl had to say. Lillian, in a perfectly calm and matter-of-fact voice, informed everyone she was, quote, in a place where the sun was constantly shining, unquote. This was strange because she was missing for 46 hours. She'd gone missing during the daytime and was found in the morning as well. Therefore, she would have had to have experienced at least 2 nightfalls. It's just not possible for the sun to have shined the whole time. Obviously, the sun doesn't shine all day, but sets eventually. In addition to the sun apparently never setting in this place Lillian claimed she was at the entire time she was missing, she also told people there were strange beings the size of her cat who she would keep away from her by clapping loudly. Allegedly, it would startle the being and, like a cat, it would run away. Some people wondered how she clapped with holding a handful of berries. Perhaps she laid them down, picked them back up again. We don't know that part of the story. But that does make this story even more bizarre. Why had she been so adamant to keep these fresh berries with her when she wasn't even sure if they were poison or not? It's a question no one thought to ask her, and therefore, unfortunately, we don't have an answer. While she said the beings she encountered were the size of her cat, and some sources even reported the girl saying the beings even resembled her cats as well. However, that one detail about what the creatures actually looked like has never been revealed. She was only 6, so some of it must have been hard for her to describe and put words to. She also said she had heard the searchers looking for her, but hadn't been able to at first clearly hear her name, so she didn't approach and actually hid for fear they were vagrants or strangers. She only heard strangers yelling loudly in the woods, and her 6-year-old mind couldn't put 2 and 2 together to realize they were there to rescue her. It's unknown if Lillian even realized rescuing was something she was in need of. The girl seemed to be just fine where she was, at least in the first few minutes she was found. Once she finally heard them shouting her name, though, clearly and was sure of it, only then did she show herself. The searchers and the authorities, of course, searched the area and the surrounding area of where Lillian was eventually found, but they found no entities or creatures that looked like cats, and in fact, nothing strange at all. Night came and went as normally, as did the day. Many of the people involved chalked this up to a scared 6-year-old's wild imagination, thinking or perhaps even pretending her pet cat was there with her for comfort and possibly playing pretend that the sun was still shining so as not to have to deal with her inherent fear of the dark. This is exactly the point many have been trying to make, not just about Lillian's case, but of all the cases of children who have vanished and returned in this way. is whatever this is, whatever is happening in the woods and who or whatever is responsible, are they purposely choosing victims who won't be believed simply because of their age or their intelligence, no matter what it is they have to say? Could be, or so it seems, at least to some. We can discuss this in the comments later. Now, the local press reasoned that the sun Lillian was seeing was actually the moon, which was full and in the clear country sky, and she thought maybe it was a dimmer sun. Also, they insisted the strange beings she was seeing were rabbits. These rabbits were allegedly what she likened to her cats. Although, in reality, neither of these could possibly be the case, however, because, upon further investigation, turns out it was overcast both nights she was missing, and therefore the moon wouldn't have been visible to the little girl. The sky would have actually been much darker than normal because the stars and moon would have been covered by this overcast state. Also, about the rabbits. Lillian was from the region and knew the difference between cats and rabbits. With all the attention on missing people in the woods and national parks these days, all these questions with very little answers and people like us just trying to figure it out, we're bound to come across some strange and bizarre tales of the woods, any woods. These extremely peculiar cases take place all around the world. Our next case happened in Sweden in 1922. An 8-year-old boy named Austin Engstrom left school with a friend, and instead of going straight home, the two young boys decided to go to a third friend's house, where there were many of their schoolmates just playing together, as 8-year-olds often do. When Austin had finished playing with his friends, it was around 3:30 p.m. and time for him to take the usual short and very familiar walk home. It was something he did so frequently, he said later that he could have done it with his eyes closed, and if the walk was any shorter, he just may have been able to. However, by 7:30 p.m., 4 hours after Austin was last seen leaving his friend's house to walk home, his parents started to worry. His mother sent his older brother Gustav to go and find him and bring him home. Gustav was able to track down some of Austin's classmates who had been with earlier. The children told him they hadn't seen Austin since he had left, alone, at around 3:30 p.m. Gustav walked Austin's entire route home, the same way he knew his brother would have gone, but found no sign at all that he had ever walked this direction. Gustav became very scared and very worried about his brother. He was deciding how he was going to break the news to his parents, especially his mother, about the fact that he wouldn't be bringing Austin home. He was thinking about this and who knows what else, I'm sure, as he walked into the house. He immediately noticed, however, that he didn't have to be sad or worried after all. His brother Austin was sitting there on the couch next to his mother, telling an extremely strange story about what had happened to him and where he had been for almost 5 hours. Other than shivering due to being extremely cold in temperature, Austin looked perfectly fine. Terrified, sure, but physically fine nonetheless. Now here's what 8-year-old Austin had to say about his almost disappearance. He says he was walking home when, for some unknown reason, he randomly, and for the first time in his life, decided to take a shortcut through the woods. He essentially felt the need to go through the deep woods and forest instead of staying on the clear trail which he was so familiar with. He went on to explain that the entire woods had seemingly come alive, in his words, with all kinds of wildlife crawling out of the bushes and trees, just coming literally almost out of nowhere to scurry around in front of him in a seemingly playful manner, just to scamper off again just as quickly, and he says the skies grew suddenly dark. The day seemed overcast, but strangely it wasn't, as the sun was seemingly still shining so brightly down. It's like some veil had been thrown over the sunny day. What he described sounds like when storm clouds roll in, how the sky looks and how the air starts to feel. It was like that, only no storm was rolling in that day. Suddenly, he said he smelled something very gross and acrid, something unlike anything he'd ever smelled before, and he later went on to explain, quote, "I looked up and noticed 3 gray objects hovering silently above me. They were so close, I could have thrown a stone at them. The objects were pulsating as if they were breathing, and I saw 2 dark lines on them. A bit further away, over the woods, another 2 objects were floating. They were bigger and darker than the ones above me." End quote. He apparently blacked out or passed out after he saw these pulsating objects both above him and in the distance. He claims the next thing he remembered was lying on the road in the pitch dark of night, not too far from his home. He was freezing cold and disoriented. When he relayed all this to his parents, they attributed his claim to his wild imagination. Gustav swore he had thoroughly searched the road and the exact spot even where Austin claimed to have been when he came to. Between the time he left his friend's house at 3:30 until he wandered home around 4 to 4.5 hours later, other than the objects he saw in the sky, Austin had absolutely no memory at all. Years later, Austin would be interviewed by some UFO researchers from Sweden, and here's what he explained to them all these years later. Quoting here, "Where was I during those hours? I estimate having been gone for around 4 to 4.5 hours. When I arrived home, I almost got beaten because they thought I was lying. They sent me to bed, and I was bedridden for 4 days. Probably I'd caught a cold while lying in the road. It looked as if the objects were pulsing simultaneously, all three of them, just like octopus functioning. They take in water and move by blowing it out. It looked like the objects used the same technique. They moved in a very elegant way, changed direction, and appeared to steer it with this pulsating. Where was I? Gustav cycled this way while I was lying there without seeing me. I've pondered this so many times." End quote. Now, there's still no.
All right, Steve Stockton tells Untold Missing Person Mysteries. Once again, we are so glad and grateful to have Steve Stockton as a part of the show right here, After Hours Radio Show, hour number 3. And because it's hour number 3, you also know who else owns the hour number 3 here, which is the guy in the chat, the guy who is always on the screen right next to me, none other than Drewski Banky.
You're an irredeemable monster!
Come here, I'm gonna eat you! Get in my belly!
Kick him in the nard! He doesn't have nards! Do it!
Wolfman's got nard. You're a monster.
Yes. We have Drew Banky with the After Hours wrap up stepping in the building. Drew Ski, what's going on, bro?
Yo, what's up?
Man,
Pretty interesting guess, huh? A lot of stories.
A lot of stories. And like I say, it was great seeing her grow because I interviewed her about a year ago. She was just starting hadn't been with MUFON too long. And you just see how many experiences she's had since the last time we talked. That's why it was awesome to be able to sit here and talk to her tonight. And we'll end up doing that again, because I think you think in the beginning when you start going through these things, it's like every year you like 2, 3, 4 times, the experience when you come back. It starts to kind of curve off, right, as the more you get into this, because you've learned everything. But at this point, it's like every year should be something really impactful and delightful like tonight. So, yeah, definitely awesome guest. It's cool to be able to talk to someone from MUFON, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they have a lot of people send them information. I know I started when I first started having experiences. I started, like I told the story before, gave a few of my instances, but after a while, just kind of after those first couple ones, unless it's something like really major or something like that, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about MUFON. I was wearing, I had a t-shirt one time. I was wearing it on interview. This is years ago. And it was a MUFON shirt. And I found it at like a thrift store or something like that. And it was just like a t-shirt. It was like from a MUFON conference or something like that. It had MUFON on the side of a blue t-shirt. And so I was like, I just wear it for like interviews and stuff. It'd be cool. Man, someone comment on there and they're like, there's from MUFON, this, that, and the other. And they're turning me in for masquerading as MUFON and all this stuff. I'm like, dude, I found this at a thrift store for $5. Like, Like, get out of here. Like, who are you?
Trying to stolen
You know?
valor you on some MUFON stuff. That is weird,
Yeah. Yeah,
man.
they stole it. Yeah, they stole it. Stolen valor for MUFON.
That is
Yeah,
hilarious.
but
Like, yeah, go ahead.
it's just funny, man. It was just funny.
It's hilarious. That's freaking hilarious. They're gonna turn you in for representing the brand. If any, I mean, come on, you weren't up there saying you were from MUFON. Although I encourage people to get into and here's why. Here's why I would even say that is because, for one, it gives you an opportunity to do something. Like, you may be thinking all the time, like, what can I do to kind of help this story or help this narrative? And that is one of the things that you could do if you have some time on your hands and you're, just like Karen said, if you're into solving clues and putting together puzzle pieces, and if you're good at that sort of thing, then the MUFON, I'm sure, needs you. Ufology needs you. We'll supersede MUFON. Ufology needs you, and we need some of the best inquisitive people in there to be solving these and taking in these requests, because people who, if you're thinking
Yeah.
outside of the box, you may be more open to, some of the options or avenues you're going to go down to try to answer these questions.
True that. I was thinking, just listen to the interview, listen to Karen, and some of the stuff that you guys were talking about, you should, if you're gonna, report it, do it soon so you can collect evidence and all that other stuff. I was thinking back about like the incidents that I had after the Chaco Canyon, in the one in Cortez, Colorado, the face to face. I wish I would have had the sense to, or had the knowing then to report it, but I really didn't even, I don't know, I didn't even see it as, I didn't categorize it kind of as a UFO thing. I categorized it more like a paranormal event for a while, until I started processing it and everything, and then I kind of realized it's kind of all in one. But it would have been interesting to go to that back deck and have some testing on it, on the area, like see if there's the energy's different on that deck that I had the incident on and all that. But hindsight's always 2020. But just got me thinking, of things that I've had a lot of instances, that, like the one me and Ella had a shared experience, whether it was a UFO or a comet, whatever it was something that was changing color, traveling horizontal with the Earth, that was going the same direction of us as we were going to the hospital when she was in labor with Hawk.
Mm.
And now, just the other night, I had, like last night, I had Hawk outside. I said, Hawk, let's go outside and burn up some of these tumbleweeds. Like, the wind's been blowing, a bunch of tumbleweeds piled up. Let's go out and have a little fire outside, and just be outside and look at the stars by the fire. It's kind of cold out, but it's totally clear. He loves to look at the stars. He'll be jumping at the sky, like trying to grab the stars. He's like, he thinks he can grab them, but he's starting to talk, and he's starting to tell the story of like when he was born, and he's giving out little things, like he's saying this name repeatedly, and I can't remember it, and I can't get it down, but he's saying it repeatedly as he's pointing up to the sky, and it's starting to freak me out, but just like all that, like those are like really magical experiences that might help move the needle for humanity one day, if it was more well known, outside of the people that have seen my interviews and stuff like that. But I don't go into detail all the time on those either, on other interviews. Mostly like on these late night talks right now, like just listen to the guest will bring up something, and our process of what how I should have a different way of reacting to certain situations or instances that I had over the years. But I don't know, it's all working out pretty good. So
As you're saying that, because my whole thing is I was telling Karen and talking to Karen about earlier, is I want to make sure that people are educated ahead of time prior to the experience, so they know what to do. Like, they have been given from a person that's going to take your request. You already know ahead of the time what they want, so you know in the moment when it, because even though it happens so fast, you'll at least have thought about what MUFON is going to need from this situation when when you turn this information in. So it just makes you and puts you in a better situation to first capture the UFO and zoom out and do all the the things that you need to do to make the video as best as you can. I had that prior to my sighting, which is why I was able to kind of zoom out, give context, and all those things. So I think if everyone has that knowledge prior to their first sighting, then the sightings are going to get substantially better and more be able to be presented in more of a better light than someone just catching a random shaky video with the phone in selfie mode, where they, instead of turning it the sideway, which you're supposed to do anytime you do this. So I just think this is good, and it's good that people are going to be able to know that information, and I think it just prepares them for the next sighting. And maybe that's a goal. Maybe that's something we could do, is put together a class or a conference where it's like UFO 101, where all the basic stuff you get taught, and coming into the field. I think that might be something right there. Let's do it.
Well,
the Drew Banky and Rob G UFO 101 conference.
Let's do it. The real value of it is finding the pattern in repeated stories. Like there's things popping up that I wish I would have documented a lot better, because now they're popping up, and it's making a lot more sense for me. So
very true information, Drew Banky, as we go ahead and get ready to jump into the final break of the night. Awesome stuff so far. We're talking the after hours wrap up, what we thought about the interview tonight with Karen Hill. If you missed any of the interview, you have it in the archives, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And we'll be back in a moment with Drew Banky, after hours wrap up, myself, and then maybe UFO and Weird News in the show. We'll see. See you back here in just a minute. All right, clear. Good stuff. What's up, Drewski? You got some,
I was
on the break?
Yeah, I was rapping with some people in the chat during the Steve Stockton, and we were talking about my Native American name, and so I told him I would say it on air. So it's Jashko Benishni, and that's Blue Thunder Man.
You were breaking up at the end. Say that again.
Oh, Jashko Benishni, and that's Blue Thunder Man in Anishinaabe.
That is awesome stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have my name. I need to go find out my name, so I can have a really cool
Benishni. Yeah. So it was given to me by, what they consider like an Anishinaabe or Ojibwe spirit, and it was channeled through soaring eagle woman Beatrice Kiwa Jackson, and she's still alive. She's my auntie, my adopted auntie, and she's a sun dancer too. She's approaching 70 now. She's not in her 70s already, and she's she's still going strong. She's amazing woman. But it's not as great as name as the Tucson MUFON. Like, that's hands down greatest name ever. It flows.
It's a
so
tongue
good.
twister too.
Yeah,
tongue twister. If you say it fast 3 times. Tucson MUFON, Tucson MUFON, Tucson MUFON.
Tucson MUFON, Tucson MUFON, Tucson MUFON, Tucson MUFON. I bet you can't do it 10 times. Hey, Rob, I sent you a picture on Facebook in your messages. If you could bring that up, flash it.
All right, let me see what
quick
we
for
got
the peeps.
Let me see. I'll bring it up. Go ahead.
Man,
and keep
if you got if no one has have got plans for 1st of May, and you're looking for something to do, come to Wisconsin. They're still got tickets. Man, Chris Bledsoe. If you buy all 3-day ticket for the all 3 days, you get automatic ticket to the Skywatch with Chris Bledsoe, myself, Jimmy Church, and others. So that's gonna be pretty fun. Oh, and your boy got bumped up to the main stage on Friday, 2 p.m. Got switched over, moved from a different stage to the main stage, and I will be at the VIP dinner. So
That's what's up. Rubbing elbows, man. You got to see, talk to some of those dudes, man. Let them know, first of all, handle your business, but you get in a little moment in time, let them know that we would love to have them on the show, and just send them our way. Send them our way. All of them. Jimmy Church, all of them.
Yeah. All of them. Yeah, I got a booking manager now too, a booking agent, and I'll be doing an interview in Chicago at News Nation the day before when I fly in to this conference. So the conference is Contact Modalities Expo. I'm down here on the far bottom right hand corner.
Yep.
And May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And it's at a resort, so there's like there's rooms there. It's a really nice place. Crazy lineup. Deb Shakti's on the lineup too. Don't want to forget her. She's going to be there.
Love Debs. Let's see. Looking at who else is on there.
Adam Apollo, obviously Chris Bledsoe is the keynote. Paula Harris, Raniero Hernandez, he's the Contact Modalities. He has like a set of books out and everything. Yeah, and there's a bunch of other amazing people that's going to be there. So
cool stuff.
It's worth checking out. It's worth checking out.
Definitely want to make sure you guys do that, as we have about 45 seconds left before we come back from break and get ready to bring this thing home. Let's see.
Oh yeah, my presentation on the main stage on Friday will be psychedelics and their role in human evolution, and it'll be an hour and a half. And at the end of it, I'm going to do a live in-person demonstration of the pendulum. I'm going to have pendulums there, and I'm also going to bring dowsing rods, have people come up, and we're going to have a really cool, hopefully paradigm shifting demonstration.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Spaced Out Radio, the After Hours radio show. Me, your host, Mr. Rob G. We are back in the building talking the wrap-up. We're talking about Karen Hill, talking about Tucson MUFON, the conversation that we had earlier tonight. And we're going to do a little bit more of that. We'll also probably get into some UFO weird news of the week. Right about now, guys, we'll jump back in with you, Banky, and talk some more UFOs. And so we were talking before the break on how it's just very important, I think, for, people to engage in this subject and just find a way to engage, because, I'm sure you've thought back, and when I say you, I'm talking to people out there listening, and like, man, what can I do? Like, is there anything that I can do to kind of, do my part in this conversation that we're having here? And yeah, this is something you could do. It'd be very, very helpful. I'm considering doing it myself at some point. I figure maybe I'll get registered, and then that way, if I do have time here and there, I can kind of investigate some things. Because I think, as an investigator, you get to see over maybe 100 investigations that you conduct. You'll be able to start forming a picture of what is most common in your region and in your area. Then you become, with that data, you become a very important part of the conversation when it comes to being having the knowledge from a research standpoint. So I think it's very important. It seems like anyone can do it. You just have to take the test, which I've heard from, I think Preston Dennett, that it's not the easiest test in the world, but if you pass it, then man, you got the keys to your region as far as UFO data goes, and I think that's pretty big. That's pretty big.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, there's definitely a lot of information gets pumped in to move on. So,
Yeah, being an
and
expert
and,
for your
and wherever it's going, I mean, obviously there's always that thought in the back of your head, like, where's this information really going? Is there someone siphoning off of MUFON? Is MUFON a front for something else? Is MUFON genuine? I think MUFON is genuine, and I definitely believe the people involved in it are genuine. Is it being siphoned off by higher powers? Probably. Like, I think their hands are in everything. So I think one central point where information is being sent to, obviously it's going to be targeted. So, but what's it really matter when you get down to it? I mean, if you really understand this phenomenon, like for what it truly is, what's it really matter anyways? Everybody's just trying to figure this out. I don't think, I think there's people that have ideas of maybe trying to use it for, their own nefarious reasons and things like that. But in the end, there's fail safes that are put into place. This is a much larger phenomenon than we could ever fathom. It's much larger than UFOs. It's much larger than paranormal. It's all of it combined. And I think we're, like I've said over and over in the past, I think we're only starting to see just the tip of the iceberg. So, and in the end, I think this is a conscious revolution. I think the UFOs and all this other stuff happening, I think it's all part of that grander scheme of the conscious evolution of humanity. I heard someone talked to AI, asked the question of, like, what's happening right now in humanity, and AI said, it's the first time I've ever heard it. I thought it was beautiful, but we're in transition to another phase of human beings. Like, from Homo sapiens, we're going into Homo luminous, where we're actually dealing with light and energy through our bodies in a much different way, and understanding how we process food, how we can do all these different things is coming to light now. Like how we can fast, and how fasting produces stem cells in our body, so we actually can produce our own stem cells by fasting. Like, we're just now starting to understand all these technologies, and that's just on the surface level, not even getting into psychedelic research and consciousness and remote viewing and all the other stuff. This is just baseline about our own human bodies. Is we're starting to learn so much about it.
Yeah. No, I agree. And there's so much more that we're going to learn. And that once everyone realizes that, it doesn't take academics, it doesn't take any level of school. Like, the people in those institutions and those scientific organizations, they don't have to be the ones to take the burden on of figuring this stuff out. We have the data on our own level down here, and you can be your own expert and figure this stuff out. And I think going forward, we need to do a lot more of that. We kind of need to organize, or just, I think as long as people realize the importance of it, then they themselves will keep themselves connected and grounded in this search for information. And then also kind of going back to MUFON and where does the data go? We know, historically, I think back in 2009, MUFON ended up selling some of their data to the government, or turned it over to the government. One of the two. It was the president who was in charge at the time of MUFON who was involved with that. Now, Do I think they're still doing that? I don't think. I think they learned from their lesson because they definitely went through a period of ridicule, and even still today, some people ridicule them for even being involved on that level. So I think they're probably going more above and beyond to protect the data. But then at the same time, as you said, when there's targets like that, a database to target, you got hackers, you got anybody who can actually get into the database and get the information if they really want it. But I think what it
Sure.
does though is it makes everyone it gives everyone the chance to play a very important part in getting to the root of this, because just like I stated, you could go from a viewer tonight, go through the MUFON training, become a MUFON representative, and then after 2 or 3 years, you become an expert on the phenomena in your region based off of research that you've done yourself. So it's like, I
Yeah.
think that's pretty awesome that's the case.
For sure. I mean, it'd be a good thing to get into, especially if you're wanting to. I don't know if they have access like to I'm sure they have access to other. I mean, I don't know what they have access to, like ways to investigate and stuff, but they have to have more than the average person. So it'd be a good thing to get into, especially if you're interested into it and you don't have, and you got some extra time, and it's nothing that's ever interested me at all, but it's seems like a headache. But yeah, for the people that do it, it's I commend them. The guy I worked with is named Jeremy Ray. He was one of the investigators that was going through my stuff, and that's how I got to know him. Yeah, but it's crazy stuff, man. I've been doing some research on some. You want to hear a crazy fact that I come across? I'm doing a little research, trying to put together some notes. I'm not putting together like a speech, but I want some like notes for this this presentation, and I got one of my nephews putting together like a promo video that plays before I come on stage. It's gonna be cool. Anyways, but I want to drop a cool fact on you. They have found proof in early humanoids over 200 million years ago. They're finding proof that they were using psychedelic compounds in some type of structured ceremony. Over 200 million years ago, they're finding proof of that. I didn't even know they had proof that we were. I guess it's not Homo sapiens. I guess it's something pre-Homo sapiens, but some type of humanoid form on Earth over 200 million years ago, finding proof that they're using psychedelic compounds in some type of structured ceremony.
Yeah, I can see it.
Crazy, huh?
Because a lot of these medicines and these plants grow on their own. So it's like yeah, as long as I can definitely see it. And just like marijuana, we know has been used in ceremonies throughout history as well. Yeah, I think if it grows now, something that you have to process or turn into something else, I'll be more shocked at, you know what I mean? But I think if it's something that grows right there, then yeah, for sure they probably use it on some level. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Definitely looking forward to this.
It'll be fun, man. It'll be fun, especially see some highlights from that. Because I know I won't be in Wisconsin. That's way, 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 way out. But I know Debs will be awesome there as well. Jimmy Church, I love to see what he's going to talk about. There's a few people there I would definitely like to see and see what their conversation is going to be about. So if you have an option to go, if you're in the area, go ahead and get your tickets. Once again, what are the dates?
May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Yep.
So still have it up here.
May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Okay, we'll be in Vegas actually those days. Space Out Radio. So yeah, we'll be doing. I think we're going out to Area 51 that weekend. We're gonna go out to the gate, take some photos because I tried to go to
choose what team you're on, people. Choose what
I
team you're
don't,
on.
I don't know, man. I think they be Team Vegas, man. They might be Team Vegas
I don't know.
only because they would get to go see where a lot of this stuff supposedly is taking place, where Bob Lazar said he worked, where he said he worked on extraterrestrial craft, and potentially if that's still happening there, which a lot of people don't think it is, but to be at the gate of that facility where these things are being held, that is an insane moment in time for anyone who's into this subject to be like, right over that hill right there is where test planes have flown in and out for top secret crap. And not only that, but a little further down that road, down to S4, where Bob Lazar says these UFOs were, that's a big place to be. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't know if there's a
Yeah.
lot that does that. Unless you know where the contractor is who is currently holding these crash retrievals. Now, anybody out there, I'm telling you, I'm on Signal. So it is encrypted messaging. You can reach out to me and tell me where these crash retrieve vehicles are at. Tell me the facility. We'll organize something. We'll go down there maybe one day with cameras and show up on the perimeter and kind of get that whole movement going. Just let me know. Let me know.
Yeah. Man, there's a jet flying over right now. Oh, you want to hear another crazy synchronicity? So, Bledsoe was on, I think he talked about this, on his interview with Sean Ryan. But he talked about how he had this message or a vision. I don't know how he got it, but basically the information was on Easter in 2026 in Egypt, when the sun rises and it hits the Sphinx, something crazy will happen. So I was talking and I seen that and I was like, oh, that's pretty crazy. It's crazy connection to Egypt that I never knew that Bledsoe had, so it's going to be interesting to be able to get to know him a little better and stuff at this conference. But I was telling Ella the other just like yesterday, the day before, I was like, there's been times in the past my birthday's been on Easter. And she said, no, there hasn't. And so I like Googled it and I was like, there's been 3 times, since 1980, since I was born, that it's been on Easter. And she's like, when's the next time? And I looked it up and it's next year, dude. On 2026, my birthday's on Easter.
That is crazy. That is insane.
So
that means you're trying to tell everybody your birthday's coming up.
My birthday's coming up, but that's besides the point. It falling on Easter on the Easter that Bledsoe was talking about having So I don't know. Maybe I'll be in Egypt next year for my birthday.
Okay. All right. I thought you were saying Drew Banky's birthday fell on Easter, so it happens to be the day Christ was resurrected. So you know what that means.
Yeah, you gotta send money to my Cash App. Duh.
Drew Banky. All right, man. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. I'm gonna try to squeeze in one news story before we get up out of here, man. You're welcome to hang around.
Jay Wasley
will be
next weekend.
But so let me go ahead and get into this story real quick. You can hang out if you like, and we're going to do it just like that, guys. So let me go ahead and jump right on into this news story right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. But I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
All right, UFO and weird news of the week. And I'm going to try to squeeze this one story in. It'll probably make this one story. And it happens to be James Webb Telescope. Anything regarding James Webb Telescope, I'm interested in because I think it's going to show something it shouldn't probably show someday. And it's going to be amazing if they ever let that data through. But this title says James Webb Telescope discovers mysterious free-floating planet drifting through space. Imagine that. known as SIMP, SIMP 0136. The $10 billion telescope caught a glimpse of it floating through space all by itself. When we think of the universe, we think of planets rotating around stars as they move in groups across the cosmic void. Enter the $10 billion James Webb Telescope, which is mixing things up a little with one of its latest discoveries. See, some things in the universe exist in their own right. No star to revolve around, no other planets to form a solar system like the one Earth calls home. Say hello to SIMP 0136, located by the James Webb Telescope this month as it focused its cameras into deep space. First launched into space back in 2021 by NASA, the telescope is the natural heir to the Hubble Space Telescope. Using its high-resolution infrared camera, it is showing humanity things it has never seen before. In fact, Brian Cox spoke about how amazing a piece of technology it is, effectively helping us travel through time. Anyway, back to the discovery. Spotted floating aimlessly through space, SIMP 0136 is roughly 20 light years away from Earth. In universe terms, that is pretty close. SIMP 0136 is a rapidly rotating, free-floating object roughly 13 times the mass of Jupiter, located in the Milky Way, just 20 light years from Earth, NASA said. Quote, although it is not classified as a gas giant exoplanet, it doesn't orbit a star and may instead be a brown dwarf. SIMP 0136 is an ideal target for exometeorology. It is the brightest object of its kind in the northern sky. Quote, because it is isolated, it can be observed with no fear of light contamination or variability caused by a host star. And its short rotation period of just 2.4 hours makes it possible to survey very efficiently. It's about 13 times the mass of Earth, which makes it a huge planet. What it's like close up, we don't know yet. Allison McCarthy, doctoral student at Boston University and lead author on the study published in the Astrophysical Journal Letters, said, quote, we already knew that it varies in brightness, and we were confident that there are patchy cloud layers that rotate in and out of view and evolve over time. Quote, we also thought there could be temperature variations, chemical reactions, and possibly some effects of auroral activity affecting the brightness, but we weren't sure. Capturing images of the planet, the James Webb Telescope took thousands of photos. We're talking one every 1.8 seconds for more than 3 hours, the time period it takes to observe one full rotation of the planet. From the images, NASA determined it is the brightest shining, free-floating planet in the northern sky, but that brightness changes as it rotates. Why? Scientists think it's due to the unevenness of the state of each cloud layer and how light reacts to that. They don't explain all the changes, though, with studies set to continue on the matter. That is actually pretty awesome. A free-floating planet out there in space. What do you think about that, Drew Banky? Muted McMuted. What do you think about that, Drew Banky?
Muted McMuted. McMuted. Say it 5 times fast. I think there's a lot out there that we don't know about. You know, I think that maybe there's other planets out there that are just like Earth, you know, just that have the same environments. And we can't see them, we can't detect them because they're too far out there. I think we're only starting to figure this out, just like everything else.
Free floating planet, man. Just a planet by itself, not attached to a sun. I just wonder, like, if anything could survive on that planet, first off. And then second off, like, what would that experience be like not having like the gravitational pull of the sun or any of that stuff going on anywhere near you? Like, what kind of world would that be? It would make for a great movie.
I'm just gonna leave everybody with the brain buster. It's gonna trigger a lot. It's gonna trigger dreams in people. So be warned. you don't want
15
crazy dreams
seconds.
tonight, tune out now. There's what if we're looking, all this universe, all this stuff is just remnants of this process going over and over through eternity. Just like we're starting to find evidence of this process going over and over on this earth, all these pyramids be coming out. There's a tomb of a pharaoh that just got uncovered in Egypt. All the stuff underneath the pyramids coming out. We're seeing, what if we're just seeing remnants of this process going over and over and over again?
That would be something to think about, something to consider, something to leave you with as we get ready to get up out of here for the night. And thank our guest, Karen Hill with Tucson MUFON. Hours 1 and 2 being awesome. Remember, you can access the archive absolutely free, youtube.com/that Spaced Out Radio. Also want to thank our guy right here, Drew Banky, with the After Hours Wrap Up. Steve's Doctor Tells Untold Mr. Person Mysteries. We also want to thank you, man, you hear right there, Mr. Ron Bubblefit Thal. He's the man that rocks us out each and every weekend as he teaches us and tells us to never say never again, because, yes, the phenomena is real. And because of that, that means anything and everything is possible. So if you enjoyed the show tonight, make sure you show your love by hitting the like button, also by throwing your horns up. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you for tuning your frequency to Spaced Out Radio, where we do what we do best. And what's that you asked, Drew Banky?
We own the night.
We own the night. This show has been copyright SOR Media Ventures Limited, Spaced Out Radio. It has been a pleasure once again serving you as your host. I'm Mr. Rob G. That is Drew Banky. This is the After Hours Wrap-Up Show. And to all you space travelers, you can best believe this is not a goodbye nor a farewell. However, next time as we prepare to go off air, you can best believe next time we'll be doing this thing, same time, same place, right here. Make sure you're here. And we are up out of here. Clear. Awesome show. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. So I'll be here tomorrow. I filled in for Dave on Friday. He's out in San Francisco at the UFO Con. He was a speaker there with the Lorian Fenton at her conference. So he'll be back in town Monday, but I'll be doing the show Monday. He'll be back on air Tuesday. So actually, let me check and see who am I hosting on Monday, because I probably should know something like that if I'm going to be doing the show, right? So let me see.
Yeah. Get it together, Rob.
Exactly. So it looks like that is going to be is this upcoming? No, this is latest. Hold on. Actually, I don't think the show is posted yet. Yeah, it's not posted yet. Parapsychologist, I think, is the person is a parapsychologist, I believe, from what I understand. So should be an awesome conversation, guys. Make sure that you are here for that. Also, Dave will be back in on Tuesday with the normal stuff, Tuesday through Friday, 9 p.m. to Pacific till midnight. Once again, you're here in the After Hours Radio Show. We rock Saturdays and Sundays, 8 p.m. Pacific until 11 p.m. If you are here for the first time, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Also, the like button. We'd love to see you come back, so hit the notification bell as we get ready to get up out of here for the night, guys. Yeah, it was fun. Like always, we kick butt, and we'll be back next week with Jay Wasley, and I'm not sure who else. We'll have the other day figured out by the time it gets here. Until then, though, guys, have a great rest of your night. Anything you want to leave them with, Drew?
No, it's going to be a banger next. I'll be 45 by the time I see you guys next. So if you want to get a happy birthday in, now's the time. If don't wait till Saturday, because my birthday's Friday. Anyways, Jay Wasley is my buddy that I set that up. And yeah, it's going to be a great. He is the director of a Ghost Story Adventures special that's coming out. I think it's on Netflix. And it comes out on the 16th 16th, so it'd be 3 days after. I think we got the last interview before the airing of the show. So it's gonna be a good one. He's got a big crowd already that he's bringing with him, so the chat's gonna be alive and popping with a bunch of brand new faces in the chat. I know is gonna be there, so
that should be lit.
It's gonna be
lit.
Yep. Has he sent you any clips?
No, he hasn't sent me any clips. I did check back in and let him know what was going on. So just because we can't do the 3 things, so it has to be the 1-to-1. So when you talk to him, see about that and then let me know.
I'll do that.
All right, guys.
Thank you, Susan. Tucson MUFON, man, what a great name. I want to move. If I ever move and want to be in MUFON, I'm gonna move to Tucson, because that whole, it just flows. It's so sharp. It's it's humble but powerful. It's good.
With that being said, we're up out of here. Happy early birthday, Drewski. I'll hit you up on your birthday, man.
Thank you.
Outside of that, you guys have a great rest of your night. We're up out of here just like this.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.